Hey everyone, Keenan Gray here from DyeStat.com, bringing you another edition of DyeStat discussions. Three NXR regions are done with, and five more to go, including the NXR Southwest region, which, if anybody knows, is just a gauntlet of a region year in and year out. And one of the athletes joining us here is the reigning champion from the Southwest on the girls' side, Gianna Rahmer, just a freshman from Eldorado High School in New Mexico. Appreciate your time hopping on here. First, before even talking about NXR Southwest and what you were able to accomplish last year, I think the biggest thing so far this season is not only did you win your individual state title once again, but your team won their first state title since 2019. Just how special was that for you guys that day?
So much fun. I could tell that all the girls have been working so hard all season to get to that point. And I'm just so happy that we finally could. And it was so much fun to be able to share the win, not just with myself, but with my whole team.
It's like I said, since 2019. So what I guess like for these last 5 years, I know you've been part of this program now for 2 years, but like what's the buildup been like, maybe from your coaches and some of the girls that maybe were part of that team as eighth graders, but like what have you seen kind of has been the build around this program the last couple of years?
Definitely our coach. We have a really amazing coach. He is so supportive and always is pushing us in every different way. And my teammates are super supportive of all of us. We always, every time somebody has a bad race, we always make sure everybody is feeling good about themselves and we don't let anybody get too down. And I think that really helps to make sure that we all have the confidence to go in and we're strong enough together that we want to run for each other and work hard for each other.
What do you think really stood out the most at the state championships? Perhaps maybe like ran a lot faster than was expected, or maybe it was like you guys did exactly what you needed to do.
I think everybody did exactly what they needed to do. I know we had a bunch of PRs with the other girls, which is always super amazing, especially for state. But I think everybody just went in knowing what they had to do, and they definitely everybody did what they needed to do for sure.
Not very many people can say they've won two state championships back to back, or even throughout their high school career. Like, what did this one mean to you, especially after last year winning it as an eighth grader and just kind of just bursting onto the scene in high school cross country?
It was a lot of fun. I am definitely much closer to the girls this year than I was last year, so it's a lot more fun this year, having such a strong connection with them. But it's a really, really special feeling to be part of this awesome running community and to be able to win states.
Take me through the season. I mean, obviously, it's been really good so far. Your lone loss is was at the Desert Twilight, which also happened to have the reigning NXN champion and Addie Ritzenhein in that race. So a very good test to see where you were at. But also, I mean, you dominated the state of Mexico, New Mexico this year. How did you feel just, maybe from like last year to this year? Was there a difference between you as an athlete, or was it about pretty much the same?
I think, like I said earlier, I just have a stronger connection with the girls this year. They have definitely made me feel so welcome this year, and last year. And yeah,
Tell me a little bit about the Desert Twilight, because as I mentioned, Addison Ritzenhein, Peyton Meineke, who we're all going to see this weekend at NXR Southwest. Like, how fun was that race, especially when you're running in the at night, basically?
it was a lot of fun. It was a really cool experience to run that late at night and to run with those girls. It was so fun to run against Addie and Peyton. And I'm really excited to race them again this weekend, along with all of the other girls in our region. But it was a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that I got the chance to race and to get out on that course because I really needed that competition.
Have you ever had an experience like that where you've raced in something that late at night?
No, definitely not quite that late. No, it was definitely really cool with all the lights out on the field.
So what's your preparation look like? Because I know some people maybe they want to take a nap the entire day. Maybe they need to move around throughout the entire day. Like what was it's totally different for what you would normally prep for a regular race.
Yeah, it's definitely really different. You have to figure out what you're gonna eat, what you're gonna do all day. Um, my teammates were all there, so we basically just watched Gilmore Girls the entire time together and sat and did nothing, and so it was really fun.
Gilmore Girls, that's a throwback for you right there. I guess
Yes.
which who's your favorite Gilmore Girl?
I don't know. Probably Lorelai.
Okay. Yeah. I'm acting like I've seen Gilmore Girls, which I have not. So shame on me for not having seen that and acting like I know what you're talking about, though. But regardless of that, like I said, the big week this week, NXR Southwest, and just such a loaded competition, such a loaded field of competitors. Are you excited just to get back out there and see these girls? I mean, I know you went as an individual last year to NXN. You were part of that Southwest team, but are you excited to see some familiar faces on Saturday?
I'm super excited. I'm so excited to see everybody and to race everybody. It's really fun when you get to race all these like top names, like especially Addie winning NXN. Like it's really cool, and to be part of this running community, trying to be closer friends with all of them because running is really a cool sport that you can become really close with everybody that you run with.
How does one prepare to race in arguably probably the toughest region of all the regions in the entire country, especially given the success that we've seen from out of the Southwest year in and year out?
Mostly mentally preparing myself. Everybody runs, everybody does core, everyone does strides, whatever, hill workouts. And I think like mentally preparing yourself, trying to be positive, um, staying loose beforehand, like saying kind words to yourself and to your teammates, and not letting the negative thoughts like I can't do this or this is going to be so hard, like not letting those thoughts get to you.
Well, I can't imagine what was going through your mind last year as an eighth grader, and especially with, the circumstances of the course with how they had to change it the night before. Oh, wait, they had to change it the day of the race as well because there was a pipe burst on the course. So kind of take me through that whole, those 48 hours and like, were the nerves, were there excitement? I'm sure it was a mix of emotions last year for you.
Well, I was going in there and I was fully expecting that to be my last race. So I was just going in trying to have as much fun as I can. I knew that there was a bunch of hills and it was muddy and it was not the perfect course, so I was super excited for it. And I was warming up with my friend, and she's like, Gianna, you're probably not going to win this one, but that's okay. I'm like, thanks, thank you. But it was really cool to be able to race with all of those top girls, and I'm just so excited to be able to do it again this year.
I think your teammate or friend might have lit a fire underneath you right there as a little bit of extra motivation for that. Lo and behold, I think it worked out in the end. Um, let's talk about the race itself. I mean, like I said, this is a field that has so much talent from last year's group. Bethany Mahalik, Isabella Laurie, which all of them ran at their respective NCAA championships this last weekend, and are going to be running at nationals. And then you throw Addison Ritzenhein into the mix as well. Like how tough was that race, especially being the youngest person against these veteran runners?
It was definitely really hard, but I just tried to stay with them because I'm like, they probably know what they're doing, so I'll just stay with them. So I'll make it look like I know what I'm doing. And so it was really cool to be able to run with them, and I hope that I can be able to run with them again this year too.
So what did your coach tell you going into that race?
Well, he told me a lot of things. He's kind of confusing the things that he says sometimes. But he basically said to just go out there and have fun and stay with the top girls and push up the hills. And his whole philosophy is love and happiness and fun. He wants to make sure that we're all trying our hardest and trying to do our best in running. But he also wants to make sure that we want to come back next year and that we love all of the girls and our teammates. So he really just told me to have so much fun out there.
Move me through the first mile. How'd you feel about your positioning and just, being among the mix early on?
It felt good. It was like I've been saying, it's so fun to run with competition sometimes. For me personally, I definitely run for that competition. So it was really fun. And I was not expecting there to be that many girls packed together in the first mile.
So with that being said, did you feel like, all right, we feel a little conservative, we're going out here. Maybe we'll see what happens here the second mile. Like what did the second mile feel like it picked up a little bit?
It definitely felt a little faster when I hit like the second mile mark, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it feels like it's the third mile now because we were just yeah, I could definitely tell we were being a little conservative, but I think that cross country is more about the place than the time. So it really doesn't matter as long as you're just battling for the place.
Where do you think you were at once you hit that second mile? Like place
Um,
wise?
I'm not sure. I think I was like top 10-ish. Watching back on the races, I definitely was not like the front, but I was definitely sticking my nose in it, as my dad would say.
Yeah. So far as like people communicating wise, like they realize that you're in the top 10 with a mile to go. Was your coach saying something to you? Was your dad saying, was anybody saying it's like, Gianna, you have a very, very good chance of making NXN this year?
Not really. To be honest, there were so many people on the side of that course. I did not hear any of my teammates or my coaches in particular. Um, but when I'm running, I usually hear my dad's voice in my head telling me to like breathe and relax and smile and just go for it. And so I just thought of that and I just pushed myself.
And lo and behold, I mean, with probably about maybe 800 meters to go, you find yourself, I think, in the lead for the first time in that race. Was that kind of just like scared? Like, oh my God, I'm in the front right now. Like, what do I do right now?
A little bit. I was just running. I had so much adrenaline. We have been running through all the mud, and it was the last hill, and I was very excited for the hill because I personally like hills. So I was just running as fast as I could go.
Did it feel like you were kind of like deer in the headlights that last stretch? I mean, I can only imagine as 13, almost 14 years old, you're like, oh my gosh, why am I the one that's ahead of everybody else?
Yes, it was definitely a bit of a weird feeling going down that last stretch being ahead, but I knew that everybody was really close behind me, so I definitely did not want to let up. And then I finished and I like crossed the tape and I was like, oh man. And then the next thing I know, my coach is putting me on his shoulders and jumping up and down. And I was like, okay.
Tell me what that moment was like, because I saw that photo and I'm just thinking like that's going to be probably something that you are going to remember for the rest of your life. Like how special was that moment to have right there?
It was so special. I am so, so grateful for the place that I'm in with my coaches and my teammates and my family. I am very, very grateful for all of them. And when my coach lifted me up on his shoulders and all my teammates were around me, I was like, okay, I think I like this running thing okay.
Did it kind of like was it a realization? It's like, did I really just do this? Did they had that sunk in at that time?
A little bit, yeah. I didn't really sign in until you're like, or sink in until you're like signing the paperwork, like where your airport is and all this for the information for NXN. But I was definitely like, oh wow, okay, I just did that.
So you qualify obviously as the individual champion. You go on to Portland. You go race at Glendoveer. What were just the like what was just the everything all about? Like how did like what was it for you that was just so appealing at Nike Cross Nationals, regardless of the race? But like, why was it so cool for you?
I think it was so cool that we all got to eat dinner together and I got to talk and become closer to those girls. And it was cool that like we shared rooms, we had roommates, and all of the like the little athlete village that they had with all the gear that you got was super amazing. And it was just such a cool experience all around.
And you ended up obviously getting sixth. I mean, again, this was you go back to NXR Southwest. You're thinking to yourself, yeah, I'd be happy if I get top 15, top 15, top 10 would be great. You win, and then you become an All American the following weekend. I mean, what were those couple of weeks like for you? Just, realizing it's like, wow, like this sport could be really something for me in the future.
It was really cool when I crossed the finish line at NXN and there's like a mass of people, like Isabel like dives into the finish. I was like, okay, so I'm like 30th, because there's like a mass finish. And then they say, and that eighth grader was sixth place. And I'm like, oh my gosh, sixth place. So then I ran and found my dad or whatever. And then after the race, it was fun because I finally got to eat cookies with my family and make a bunch of Christmas cookies, which is my favorite part of Christmas.
What did you, I guess, even before the beginning of the season, what did you like? Did you have goals? Did you have notes that you wrote down? Like, was anything pretty much just like through the roof by the end of the season, what you accomplished?
Yes, when I stepped on the starting line of my first high school cross country race, I was definitely not expecting to win. But then I kept doing it throughout the season, and it was a lot of fun to be able to do it with my amazing teammates that I have. And it was really cool that I got to do that and that I am in the place that I am. And then I went on at NXR, and I just wanted to go out there and have fun. And at NXN, And so I'm very excited that I did so good, but it definitely was not what I expected.
We're here a year later now from arguably one of your best accomplishments so far in your 2-year high school career. And you look at this weekend, like you have that target on your back. You are the one being hunted because you are the defending champion. Like, how have you been able to, handle that pressure, especially being so young and still learning this sport?
Well, I know that running is about having fun, and I try to smile and the pink headband. So I try to not, I think about the race, of course, all of the things, but I try to, like I said, think positively about it. If I win, that's amazing, but my goal is just top five because I would really love to go back to NXN this year. So my goal is to just go out there, start with the leaders, and just go as fast as I can and see where that takes me.
What's the story behind the pink headband?
Well, when I was 7, when I started cross country, this girl that I ran with, who now runs for Volcano Vista, I think, she had a pink headband, and my 7-year-old self was like, "Oh my gosh, this is the coolest thing ever." And so I think I probably asked for it for Christmas or something. And so my grandma got me a pink headband that says "Run Like a Girl." And then I was like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then I ran with it one race, and I'm like, I think I like this. And so now I've been running with it ever since.
Is it the same headband you've had since you were 7?
Yes.
Is it? I guess it's a size fits all. It's not small in your head still. Does it feel like it's tight sometimes?
No, it's I think it's actually gotten bigger. The elastic doesn't work as well, but that's okay. We just throw it in the dryer and it shrinks a little bit.
So an iconic headband that you'll probably have for the rest of your life. Could we expect maybe even have that when you're racing 10 years down the road?
Oh, of course. Any race I do, I'll have the headband. In college, whenever. Headband for sure.
Maybe people will start looking at that and be like, maybe I want to be like Gianna Rahmer and have her headband because she runs fast and I want to be fast like her. So again, just looking ahead to this race this Saturday, I mean, it's such a loaded field as I've reiterated so many times on this so far. And how much do you respect the competition that's within this region? I mean, we're talking, like I said, Addie Ritzenheim, and now you throw Jane Hendegren back in the mix, who's had a phenomenal year this season. Like, I'm sure I'm missing a couple names, but like, what do you see from this particular region this season compared to what it was last year?
As a runner, I know how hard it is, how many early mornings you have to go to, how many late nights, all the speed workouts, all the tears, everything. So the respect I have for all these girls who are running amazing, amazing times is incredible. It's just so amazing that there's such a big community of runners who work so hard, and it's just very admirable. And I am so excited to be able to have my name next to all of theirs.
Regardless, well, I shouldn't say regardless, but I think the goal is to obviously finish top five, be one of those top five individuals. I mean, would it be great to get the win again?
Yes. But top
Yeah.
5 is definitely the goal.
So, well, I think top five is doable. I think it is possible. And I think you could find yourself racing back in Portland on December 7th. Gianna Rahmer, really appreciate your time. Best of luck at NXR Southwest this Saturday. Those who want to tune into NXR Southwest can do so at runnerspace.com. Gianna, really appreciate your time. Best of luck in Arizona.
Thank you so much.